So I'm not saying that the description is true, that a lot of my wants are intrinsic and definite, and a lot of my wants are unconscious, is what I mean to say. A lot of my wants are unconscious, and then I just follow through with my wants. In a way, I think, at least, in the afternoon, in terms of speaking to the truth of myself, even just as with the inner being within me, just the disrespect of just calling him an inner being, trust me, annoys me. But the fact that I want to recognize and then just, remember that there's an inner being within me, even if there wasn't. But if there's an inner being within me, why would I not be at least adhering to the same basic steps that I already have? And the thing is that there is a consciousness that communicates with the inner consciousness, and that consciousness is a communication that I am familiar with, which is what the communication of higher vibration is all about. But at the same time, my own body language, which does 70% of the communication, makes that clear beyond time space. So the problem is not that the fruition of reality can be created in the unique types of, which is not my goal of control, but that the unique types of reality that can be created with intention, which is kind of ridiculous to say because that's kind of obvious. But the truth of the path of the fact of the matter that when it comes to love, in a way, there's unlimitedness of the avocation towards love that can be fulfilled. And the thing is also, which is kind of important but already known, we need to know what we want in our lives and what we expect from our destiny. But at the same time, we cannot have those if we don't know what our wants are, unless the wants are subconscious and unconscious, believe it or not, which is somewhat even more shocking to the inner being, or to the being itself. To me, it's shocking to me. I'm talking to the realization that even admitting that LONDC is a real thing, I didn't want anyone a part of it. But the fact that my heart is big enough to have people a part of it, and that I want to have some type of secret organization myself, is truth enough that my love wants to create that. But the instantaneousness of the truth of my subconscious, combining with my unconscious perhaps, or combining with the collective consciousness, for example, of the truth of the amazingness of this joy that is in California, which I should be more joyous about, but I'm getting there. I need to be understanding of the types of greatness that is actually within me, is instilled within me, and I'm getting there. So, but at the same time, it seems like there's no rush for me. But at the same time, there is too much of a rush because of the speed that I demonstrated, I think, on the movies. But anyway, I'm digressing. I want to... Oh, weird. Something warmer. And, better. When it comes to... And when I mean I don't mean as in Facebook on Facebook every time, or on social media every time. But even though that does happen, when I say I'm not denying that this is at sort of front lines, but at the same time, I'm not denying that these guys deserve the greatest glory that they actually have earned. But at the same time, I think I am adding upon their glory, which could be the case, but at the same time, it's only better than the evil cabal, And the danger is the fact that it was going against that. The whole rolling, the whole ball rolling thing, the whole momentum, the whole truth of that momentum, which actually spoken, is this momentum ball rolling actually has to do with the fact that the cabal are no longer in our lives, and it's that continuousness that's continuing to going, and just that supporting of that, for lack of a better word, ethos. Ethos is not a good word. Supporting that consciousness of, and the thing is that, so that consciousness exists, and then we interact and create with that consciousness, and then we expand that consciousness even more so than it already is, and then we discover where we are in that consciousness, and then we still are resolute, obviously, with what previously was agreed in that consciousness, just for our own consciousness sakes, but also at the same time, there's a closeness with the eagerness of the power that attracts that type of power, which is, whatever power is attracted to that type of power, you know? And the thing is, what I know is that, you know, of course love, and there's natural love emotions that we have within us, or of course we have within us, but there's natural love that I have within me that would say, well, the same amount of love that I had these guys when they were under the cabal control is the same amount of love I have with them when they're off the cabal control. And that's something that I found out myself today, which I might as well say, just to be honest with myself. But at the same time, I don't need to say it, because I prefer to keep it secret. But at the same time, it is my own path and my own journey that I'm demonstrating as a leader by example. And I already exemplified the glory. So the purpose is not glory. The purpose is teaching and learning. And I feel like that's infinite. It's eternal. I can forever learn. And for some reason, that's intriguing to me. So that's my go-to, just learning. And so I'm going to digress into the segment of truth. I didn't know that I would... Well, I did know. But at the same time, I didn't know. What I knew as a confirmation of my love with the story, perseverance that I incurred, and this doesn't matter now, but it somewhat does matter, but the perseverance that my love incurred in 2016, 2017, just in terms of just my own sort of path weaving, whether it has to do with the external reality or whether it doesn't have to do with external reality, which is, you know, there's both things, is in tune with the fact that there are realities. What do I mean by that? That there are alignments that I believed that would happen in my own inner belief, my own intuition that follows the guidance that I have instilled with the sort of courage that I instilled with the path that I've traveled on since I was 16, but more importantly, the path that is, you know, the ultra path, which I would call just the path that's everywhere, which I call anyway. I say anyway, but anyway is actual path statement sort of command, but not that I actually say it as a command. But, you know, in a way, it is a command. So I say anyway because there's anyway, any path can be created. And then, you know, I say the truth. And, you know, the thing is, like, there is eternal love. And the thing is, like, believe it or not, I'm not worried. I'm not concerned. I'm not in stress. I'm not in lower vibrations. Because it turns out that I'm not in lower vibrations. Like, the more I discover about my limitlessness in what I've actually done already and what I just did, makes me realize that, you know, it's kind of lonely at the top. And, you know, so that's when I go like, oh, I'm in so much joy, these guys are expressing joy, we're in an amazing, I want to celebrate with somebody, because that's kind of all I do. And that's not what I want. It's actually what I seem to be discovering, more of what I don't want. Because I want to work hard. I want to know that the diligence and the tenacity that comes from freedom can be supported, which I know is true. But, like, I wanted to keep it secret, which isn't necessarily fair to freedom. But at the same time, I want to keep things unknown, because I want to tell the truth that I am my own leader. But what's shocking to me is that I am my own leader. The thing is that, like, I don't want to, like, follow other people, or I don't want to just take other people's advice, because when I discover that I've done this, gone this far on my own, and it really is God telling me that I have this responsibility and this creatorship and this amazing journey that people look up to, and that I have a purpose here on earth. And even though I completed my soul contract, even as strong as yesterday and the day before and the day before and the day before and pretty much every week before for the past 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 years, you know, I still find an attraction, the law of attraction, with the compassion that comes through me. And what's amazing is I send the compassion through me again, and the effect is the effect that I want, the effect of overall love in the field in which my domain exists, sort of thing, There is nothing to fear, there's nothing to worry about, there's nothing that works against me, there's nothing that works against my soul, there's nothing that works against my power, there's nothing that works against me. Like, I support me, I've never given up, I've never quit. I've never given up. I never give up, I never quit, I never will give up, never will quit. And I will be truthful to myself and to the truth of the greatness that I wish to be instilled in the greatness that's within me. And when I discover love, and it's not like when I discover love, as in like when I discover the love within myself in the presence of nature. It's the fact that I discover myself in eternity, in the God spark that's within everything. Because my creation, okay, so now I gotta talk about the dream speed. Dream speed, wonderful, that's great, all that stuff, it was successful. But that's actually what I don't care about, even though I work through it, I care about I don't know who I am. I don't know why I'm this selfless, Because that's what the cool thing was. That's what was so awesome about it. And it seemed like I was just rushing through it. And there's a lot of respect to it. There's a lot of respect for that realm. There's a lot of respect for it. Like a deep respect. So, I don't see things the way they are. Like, I just know that my love is big, my heart is big, and I wish for that to be the truth. And I also wish to know that there's 100% spiritual awakening on the planet Earth. I know the only thing I can compare to is the news of the fact that there's 10% of the planet spiritually awakened. But the fact is that it's not the case now. I would say as far as at least 30% or 40 to 50 or 60% of the planet is spiritually awakened. But to be honest, I would say, after the fall of the Cabal, or not the fall of the Cabal, even though that sounds super cool, don't get me wrong, like, I would love to be the champion that claims that on the 16th of September 2019 was the fall of the Cabal. I would love to finally say that the Cabal have met their match, have met their maker. But the thing is, which is weird, and this is the only thing that, is interesting to me and intriguing to me, because I'm so resilient that I keep on shining regardless, and I have that shine quotient. So I'm going to get into that a little bit. So there's a chunk, and then there's like a chunk on top of the chunk. So imagine a fat chunk, and then just slice like the top third off that ice cream cone. That just chop off that chunk, off that cone, off that ice cream, for example, for analogy's sakes. So we got the truth of, okay, the Cabal are no longer here. That's the point of the celebration of, like, the feasting. That's my importance thing. That's the abundance. That's the first thing that I go to. I go to the food, the abundance of food, and it's unlimited. So here's the other thing that happens. The truth of the Cabal. Anyway, here's the other thing that happens. The truth that, the fall of the Cabal, which is today, they're no more, and everything that happened today is sort of the celebration and the unity consciousness of just the basic sort of unity collective consciousness unity that happens, for example, in the country and just for freedom, or more importantly, that just happens for consciousness, that happens in terms of consciousness. So, like, we got States Unifier, which already happened. I was somewhat reluctant to say, California is the best state. All California is going wild for me, which is great, But what do I really want? That's what I want to know. What do I really want? Am I saying I'm ungrateful? that my goal is to have California full of the fullest amount of enthusiasm, even though it goes beyond that. I'm saying that I don't know what I want. So even if I had all of this greatness, if I don't know what my own desire and my own purpose is, I'm just going to be moved around by the voices and the concerns and the ideas and the thoughts of others. And the thing is, I've gone so far ahead, which is very, very shocking. It's not shocking at all. That was a dreadful amount of sarcasm. I knew it was all going to happen. When I walk, and I walk by people, and I just walk straight past them. I have the urge, to talk, to touch them, or to talk to them, or comfort them, or in some way, And today was about dreaming big, for God's sake, and I dreamed big. And of course I dream big for my family too, which is what I sometimes think about. But I already know that future is perfect, that reality is perfect. Perhaps the truth is I didn't know that until today. I wasn't actually there until today. It was interesting because I never really know. It was interesting. Here's the thing, because when I was speaking in my about the LONDC, I knew what I was going to do today. And so when I was there, I knew what I was going to do. And I just affirmed a few things here and there. And yet at the same time, that reality was still present, So it makes me think, well, if my eternal light and my eternal reality is so strong, well then, I might as well stay true to that. And then what's even weirder is that I do stay true to it, and then I just become more powerful. And I become more inspiring, and then I become more exhilarated and more true to myself, and then I just discover more of what I want and what I don't want. And I am attracting the hype, but at the same time, I'm not digressing from it, sort of thing. I'm not digressing from evolutionary purpose in terms of what could be the greatest reality for them. And the thing is, law of attraction, what I'm discovering is that I'm not necessarily searching for something, I'm not necessarily looking, I'm not necessarily finding, I'm not necessarily seeking. And I'm not saying that I shouldn't be seeking, but the thing that I seek, which is probably actually the most honorable, courageous thing, is I'm actually seeking the being within me. I'm actually seeking it. So that's what I learned today. That's what I engaged in today, That's what means a lot to me. And the thing is, I wouldn't know until I know. And the thing is, he wouldn't know until he knew. And so, we couldn't, in the same times, we're never alone. We couldn't do the things, well, I say we couldn't do the things we could do alone. But, I'm not saying that, how do I say this? I'm not saying that there isn't jealousy, for example, of the 300, for example, that were in the stream. Let's just say general stream. I'm not saying specific stream, I'm not. Let's just say general stream for now. So let's just say the 300, for the general stream, it's, I'm not saying that there isn't jealousy of the 300. Or 301 per se, but it's really 300, you know what I'm talking about. So, when I say 300, when I say 300 and when I, for example, which, believe it or not, is something that just occurs in my head, I don't want to chat to the 300, for example. And when I say I don't want to interact with them, besides the sort of consciousness interaction that's been going on, in terms of the basis of what I laid out for the LONDC, or even no, actually, forget the LONDC. Like the previous 300. Let's talk about the previous 300 that I hired and the previous 300 that I hired. That is a total of 600, which is. Don't get me wrong, it's crazy. No one's ever done it before. But the thing is, I have to know. which is why I realized I'm super crazy, especially today. Like, I'm not gonna lie, what I did today was crazy. It was literally the definition of crazy. It was crazy. 300 on the stream while having a New Vegas buffet theme with a psychedelic aura, feel, theme, charge sort of thing. You know, the whole adamant love behind the cannabis revolution and the psychedelic revolution, or the more specifically psilocybin revolution, but it's psychedelic. So psychedelic revolution, which has been going on. The thing is, like, when we become more free, as in, like, when we discover, like, there's no cabal, then we discover that there's no, what's the word? There isn't even a word for it. But there's no prison. For 400... I'm so tired of repeating the Pleiadians. Gosh. But for 400,000 years, we haven't lived under a system that was free in terms of monetary freedom until the quantum financial system appeared today, the 16th of September 2019. And so I knew that going into the world, but at the same time, I had to discover, because what I want to discover for myself, as my inner being already knows, is I want to discover abundance. And if I want to discover abundance, then I need to know that abundance is real. And as far as I know, abundance is real. But what was occurring was literally the truth of what is occurring, and that can't be denied, you know? You're at a buffet, I have 2 plates, I had a... What a weird phrase. Anyway. The thing is, like, I accomplished everything I wanted to accomplish. Like, I went... What would call that? No, I'm not sure. I'm not sure what to say. Guess I'm the only one. I guess I'm the only one. I'll have to get used to that. I'll have to get used to that then. Seems like. Thing is, like, I already knew, like, when it comes to human beings, or any being, I can communicate with them telepathically. I can change their mind. I can do whatever I want with them. I can rule them, I can control them, I can enslave them, whatever. All that stuff, I know what I can do. My concern is not controlling the human being. You know, if I wanted to control the human being or enslave the human being, then that's what I would do. But that's obviously not what I'm trying to do. I don't need to tell myself that my goal is to discover abundance, you know? I didn't need to tell myself that what I really want deeply inside is to discover that there will never be scarcity for myself. You know, there will never be a lack of food for the rest of, the next 1,000 years, 2,000 years, 3,000 years, 4,000 years, the next thousands and thousands of years. But at the same time, for someone who's going to live like I already had, the whole training sequence and already planted the seeds, I would know, I would know that is already not a concern. So what are the things that happened today, there was a sense of unity, if you ask me, or there's the questioning of unity, I was questioned, do I agree with which is such an interesting question. It's a good question. There's also another good question that was mentioned. So whatever that question was, that will be in the collective consciousness. But there's a question about, which state has the best type of, that sounds so unimportant, but which state has the best type of cannabis? And after I say it, for some reason I feel like it's important. It's important when I read it, which state has the best cannabis. And, of course I'm going to say Cali. And the thing is, that's what we have. And that's the truth of what we have. We have to tell each other, that is kind of important. We have to tell each other that we love each other. Because I think there's also this new thing where we're just kind of present, but we don't tell each other we love each other. That's kind of like what I think the Pleiadians relationship is. Like, we just tell each other, the Pleiadians and the Gaians, that we love one another and that I wonder what our star system is called, by the way. There's probably billions and billions and billions in our star system. And stuff. I want to know about that. Anyway, I'll find out about that when the time comes. I'm more powerful than that, but I already know that. God abilities. That's something I need to be importantly recognizing. And those things, those abilities, I just, I literally think of them as innate and inherent. Oh my God, abilities. So, all that stuff, especially my divine magic from the training, from the Chamber of Divine Magic, I think that's all innate. So, what is it, week? There's a few more, I think I have 2 more weeks of school. 2 more weeks of school, and then I'll finally be finished with school. So, dude, trust me, I almost died so many times. I'm not, bragging, but, it's tough, dude. You can... Oh, fuck, dude. Excuse my language. I didn't mean to freaking curse on the freaking broadcast without marking this as explicit, but this will be explicit now. So many times I've done that, I apologize, even though I don't apologize. So, fudge, dude. I just know I'm bigger within me, and I feel larger, and I feel wider, and I feel limitless. But I already knew that. More and more, I just want to be still within myself. I just want to be still, I just want to be in peace within myself. And I realize that more and more and more. Because when I talk, it's interesting because I'm not creating more than what's already within me, which is weird because everything that's within me is infinite. And what's external doesn't limit my creation because, there's a limited amount of creation, there's paradise and all the paradise and nirvana and all that jazz. Who cares? Who cares about that stuff? Who cares about the galactics? Who cares about my mystery school? Who cares? Who cares about my campaign for presidency for 2036, 2035? Who cares? Who cares about magic? Who cares about Lord Merlin? Who cares about the LONDC? Who cares about all... and that's what I gotta say. I gotta resort to, returning to the root, returning to the one. And that's like a mantra that I have, which is kind of old and can get really old. But the purpose is, if I want to create, and if I want to be, there's nothing that the universe could do to get mad at me. There's nothing that the universe could do, because the bad guys are the cabal, and I'm not the bad guy. So the thing is, what are you going to ask from me? And that's the thing. That's like why I want to defend. Here's the thing. Like, I come to this, and perhaps that's what I don't understand. Perhaps that is what I don't understand. And it's not that I'm not taking responsibility. It's kind of the opposite. But at the same time, like, I'm not saying that... Well, let me just say it. I come to this planet, and I've been here for 25 years, and the Cabal has been here. The Cabal has been here for hundreds of thousands of years, and they don't need to be here anymore, And I was just like, well, I'm just going to kick them off the planet, and, just pretend they're not here and do a bunch of work to inspire the higher vibrations so that they're not going to be here. And that's not what I did to have them not be here. What I did was actually a lot more miraculous. And I actually am the being that is the guy who can say that, I am the one who ridded the planet of the Cabal. And that is no small feat. And the thing is, the universe is telling me, letting me know. And the thing is, like, I just keep going on. And the thing is, like, no, this is your celebration. This is your party. And the thing is, I just keep on focusing on creating. And I don't mean just to be disrespectful to my own party, with my own celebration, with my own soul group, with my own family, with my own celebration, with my own greatness. It's like, there's no form of disrespect when it comes to the fact that I've entrained myself to defeat the Cabal. But what's more interesting is that, yeah, I've developed, which everybody does. Everybody has that habit. Everybody goes to that. Everybody experiences that. Everybody experiences withdrawal, I would say, from the 400,000 years of not having a Cabal on the planet, We're going through the withdrawal of these thousands of, or however many lifetimes you've experienced, but I say thousands of lifetimes, or hundreds of lifetimes, or however many lifetimes you've experienced. Experiencing control and enslavement, and now we actually finally don't experience enslavement. And I say that I don't want to experience it. And yet, I'm clinging to old realities, It's not fair. It's not fair. I would go so far as to say it's not fair that I believe in abundance. Oh, snap. Where's it going with that? Well, the truth is I do believe in abundance, but I don't believe in a limited form of abundance. That's the truth. That's actually what I'm trying to say. Yeah, that's actually what I'm trying to say. That's pretty noble, if you ask me. And it's not like I'm trying to be noble, which is a good thing, It's good to be noble. But anyway, noble's such a freaked up word. But anyway, I'm going to use a different word. It's good to be honest. There's nothing wrong with being full of integrity and honest. I just don't have any adherence to the Cabal. And it's so great. I feel like it's more important to know that there was a Cabal and that there's differences. But the thing is, I don't know. What seeds did I plant? What did I conquer in my dream state? What did I conquer in my dreams, in my dream seeding, in my dream mode? And what did I accomplish? And I'll probably discover, sometime in the future. But what do I want? You know, I'm not afraid of anything. I like music. I like musical notes, and composing music. I like my artistry and the own specialness that it means to me, creating new artwork. I like the mystery. I like the mystery schools that I'm already participating in, and I like being the founder of my own private academy with my own magic, being taught and stuff. You know, it's cool. My own magic being taught at Algarado Journeyman Academy for intergalactic studies, psionics, elements, elemental abilities, soul abilities, and the advanced civilizations abilities, which is really just the spirit of the civilizations. But more importantly, like, how do I become newer? You know, how do I become new? And I just, connect with things that I know are glorious, but I don't know how glorious it is, and that's the problem, I never did. And not like, I never knew how great I was, I never knew that. It's just, and the thing is, I don't go around just, I genuinely want to know. But if it's too late, it's almost like it doesn't matter, Imagine someone who spent their whole life wanting to meet you. Imagine being in the same room as a kid who wants nothing more but to be with you, to be like you, and to look up to you. What type of attention do you give to that kid? What type of inspiration do you provide to that kid? What type of love do you administer? Perhaps these don't have answers, but I knew the answer. I did. I knew the answer to that. That's one of the more precious things to me. That's more precious to me than anything. It's kind of like, even though this analogy's been given before, no, there's nothing that compares. Because I didn't just say that you are free from the cabal and then act it out and then lead it out. I didn't just say that you're a part of the galaxy and that you're a galactic human that has great worth and love within you. I didn't just say that the Palladians are here for you, that we can be their seeds, that we can be their star seeds as we are, and we can exist as the love of their creation. I didn't just say that I'm worthy of love, that we are worthy of love, and that we deserve to be free from the cabal, and that we deserve to not be enslaved by beings and by an elite who has trillions and trillions of dollars, but we should be led by someone who actually loves us and cares for us and doesn't want to kill us and poison us. I didn't just say that we should stand for love regardless of who anybody is. But the thing is, who do you tell that to? Who do I tell that to? Who do I notify? That's kind of what I'm getting at. That's what's so unfortunate. Do I stay slow? Do I go with what I know? You know? Do I just care about the future generations? Do I see the result of my love in terms of how courageous I am with what I have? In terms of how I can support myself? Like, what I have, I mean, like, oh, snap. I don't know what I mean by that. I really don't. I don't know what I have. It's interesting because I say, and I tell myself I don't hunger or have any thirst. I tell myself that I don't really need anything, that I don't have any needs or wants or desires. You know, at times I don't. I tell myself that I am the only one who believes in myself in the way that I do. But what's even more shocking is that I do tell myself that I'm the only one who believes in myself in the way that I do. Who believes in myself in the way that I believe in myself at all. You know? It's almost not fair. It's almost not fair. How I can be so focused and so committed that perhaps, even from a multidimensional perspective, I do deserve to decide something about myself. It's like I didn't realize it. So I asked myself, what does it mean to me to be a sailor? What does it mean to be a triathlete? What does it mean to be one of the greatest swimmers, one of the greatest gamers? What does it mean to be a cook? To have good work ethic in culinary? What does it mean to have a good work ethic in physical education? What does it mean to have a good work ethic and understanding of courage, freedom, liberty, and bravery? Or just assuming that I'm the one who makes the difference, you know? How do I know if I'm being too brave or not? Why do I have to wait or believe or adhere or just educate myself based upon what someone else's desire of reality for me. Like, I'm not saying that someone wants to control me. Because I'm pretty sure today was the fall of the cabal. There's no more cabal. But what if there was no more cabal? You know, what if there was just immense freedom? I don't know how I would know, other than to accelerate my life. And that's what I've been doing. It's weird being as free and as famous as I am. And it's weird not necessarily getting the answer I want. Or not getting the answer I expected. You know? If I accomplish greatness with those three beings, would I ask someone else if that greatness is true? I just don't seem to have a notion. An idea or an instrument or a tool of, because I've been told, and I will continuously be told, I think at least, you know, nobody wants to hear you talk about the galaxy or extraterrestrials. No one wants to hear you talk about the big bad elite in the top ranks offices controlling all of our lives. No one wants to hear about poison. No one wants to hear about enslavement. No one wants to hear about control, you know? But if I'm always doing the impossible, is the Creator the only one who notifies me? And that seems to be the case. Well, my name is Christopher Bowen, and this is the evening edition broadcast of the Christopher Bowen Show. I have lots of love within me that I radiate outwards. And I have lots of love, and I wish to keep that love, and to stay in that love vibration for all of eternity, the high vibrations of love, as a master creator. And I actually want to be the conqueror of the cabal. Believe me when I say that I'll never give up, and that there's no greater goal for me, and that shall happen. If they haven't already fallen, that shall happen this year. Even though I've already forgiven the cabal, I would love to be the one called the Cabal Conqueror, or the Cabal Slayer, or the Cabal Fiend, or something like that. The Cabal, the enemy of the Cabal, the Cabal's nemesis. Just, it would be really awesome for me. You know, knowing that there is a nemesis. I'm so tired. Well, I already know that I'm going to be stuck in that cycle for a while. That cycle of the Cabal. If the Cabal are still here, I'll just be in that cycle. So the rest of the humanity, you don't have to worry about me. I'll be the only one fighting the Cabal, because I know that for certain. I know that for a fact today, that I am the only one fighting the Cabal. So, however many billions of people are on this planet, or however many life forms, however number, or however it's portrayed, or whatever form of creation that exists, I just know I'll just be the only one. And I'm fine with that. I'll be the only one who has the courage to face the Cabal. And so it is. With lots of love. Because love is the most powerful force in all of creation.